What is up, fellas? It's another episode number 73 of Air Marshal Mondays. It's good to see everybody. Let me get my mouse. And move some things. All right. Sorry, I was Pickle Pilot. What's going on? I'm gonna go through the roll call here. We got Victor Shamulus. How you doing? Wild Bill. What's up, man? Reed Smith. Shadow Ops RC. Good to see you tonight. Making hamburgers on the barbecue. Make a cheeseburger for the rest of us too. Just one. We'll figure out what to do with it. Nathaniel Pulling, how you doing? Paul McNeil, Richard Webb, David Martin Graff, Scott Settle, what's going on? Flying Times, Ethan RC, what is happening? David yourself, Dennis Farley, Tony Spears, how you doing? Over in Alabama. Dana's RC. JCB67, Jeff's Custom RC, what's going on, man? Spencer Keith, what is up? Spencer Keith is flying and listening. Awesome. Defrost, how you doing? It's good to see everybody tonight. All right. Yeah, we're going to put the one cheeseburger. It's going to just make the rounds into all of Kenny's planes. Reed Smith, awesome. Awesome, man. That's good to hear. Yeah, it looks like some of the stuff that is on back order is starting to come in. So I saw that Lyndon, our man down in South America, it looks like his NX-10 has arrived, but the Charger is still on back order and the Draco is still on back order. So we're still waiting for all the stuff to make it down to Miami. Cheeseburgers. EQ, what's up, man?
Playing from Damned 02.
My goodness. This Alexa lady. So, hopefully everybody got some good flying in this weekend and everybody had a great weekend. Yeah, Rich M, I just got the charge today, so hopefully you'll be seeing that NX-10 show up probably in the next, Wednesday, Thursday, however long it takes for stuff from Horizon to make it down to Fort Lauderdale. And, oh my goodness, these dogs are killing me. Yep, so hopefully you'll have the transmitter here in the next few days. But it looks like the Charger might be on back order till like July, which is terrible. But, 4 days, it's still going to get there way before everything else. So, we're just playing the waiting game. And, I wish I could have gotten everything to him sooner, but that's the name of the game when you're getting brand new stuff. All right. So, We got some good stuff done this weekend. On Saturday, Amy, comes up to me and says, "Hey, I want to go fly an airplane." And I'm like, "Yes." So it was a great day on Saturday. I was taking care of some other things, and, Amy says she wants to go fly. Of course, I'm going to tell her, heck yeah, let's go. So we grabbed the Apprentice S and, grabbed the batteries, the charger. We only had time to get a couple of flights in before it got dark. But Amy did fantastic, right? So we were buddy boxing. I know that some people thought that she had done a solo, and she did not, so I was still helping her out. And she's actually got quite a bit of time flying on real flight. But, when she's flying on real flight, I don't stop her from using safe or whatever. So she'll put it on safe mode and just fly around using safe mode. And even though I was telling her, like, you're not in safe mode, the plane doesn't auto level itself, and when you turn, to the right, you're going to have to correct it back to the left. It took her, quite a while to catch on to that. But once she, caught on to the idea of the plane's not auto correcting, because I don't. When I'm doing like real life, RC training, when I'm teaching a new pilot how to fly, I don't turn on safe. That's not going to help them. I am their safe mode, so if the plane's going down, I'll get it. But when she got a hold of that and started doing the corrections, everything was great. She was keeping the airplane level. She figured out like the pitch. So the next time we go out, I'm going to have her just work on flying the pattern. And, but I think she's ready. Are you going to come and say hi to the folks?
Do I look okay?
You look fine.
I know.
I don't have another chair.
Okay, seems like
So here she is, RC pilot Amy.
yeah, okay, that's a stretch.
It wasn't a stretch. You were doing it.
I know.
You were on it. What's up, Nate? So, Amy's just stopping in to say hi real quick. And we've got the Habu. And I think that, we'll tackle the Habu at another time. Because even though, it can fly slower than your typical jet, it still doesn't have the flight envelope of the full 1500 size Apprentice. So that's what we're going to use for now, is the Apprentice S, and get her familiar and get that muscle memory built up where she's flying the pattern with the Apprentice S, then start working her way into takeoffs and landings. And, hopefully here in the next few weeks, we will see her first solo. And that's going to be, shadow ops, that's for sure. So once she's ready, though, we'll definitely, if not her solo flight, because that one, I have to be monitoring that to get her checked out at the field. So, the solo flight we're not going to have on camera, but the, probably like our second or third flight after that, we'll be able to get some good footage of it, because I think it's excellent to, kind of chronicle this progress. Now, I do have hat cam video of her flying. So, I'm gonna get that up on the channel at some point, because I feel like it's important to, it may not be important, but it's fun, to kind of watch that progress. Pay it forward. What's up, man? Mike Bird. All right. So yeah, Amy is, and you know, she's real shy. You know, she's not as outgoing as I am, and I apologize for saying all the time. I know that it comes out. It just does. It just happens. So she was super excited once she got the hang of it, and I was super excited for her. We put another battery in the airplane right away, took off, and she flew more than half of that pack on her own. It was awesome. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat here. So, it was great to see everybody in the chat and all the folks on Facebook. Kind of give Amy a little congratulations on getting some flying in. She may not tell us, but she was excited about it. GB, that's no kidding. Quinn Perkins, it is good to see you. Welcome to the show. If you haven't been here before, welcome. If you have been here before, welcome back. All right, so I want to talk about yesterday. So yesterday I went out flying and I brought out a couple of new to me airplanes. One is brand new that only a few people have here in the United States, which is kind of exciting. So I took out my Dynam Hellcat for its maiden flight, and I took out the Dancing Wing Balsa PT-17. So first, let's talk about the Hellcat, because that's one that probably more people are familiar with. Lyndon Stewart, good to see you, buddy. Victor, I think she will. EQRC, the DX8E should be on the transmitter setup list. Just set it up the same way that you would DX6E. I mean, you're obviously going to have some extra channels. So, my thoughts on the Hellcat. That plane flies outstanding. Now, I'll tell you, I moved the aileron control rods to the innermost point of the control horn on the aileron because I wanted a little more aileron throw than it gives you stock. I like my planes to have a little more of an exaggerated roll rate. And the Dynam Warbirds, at least in my previous experience with them, don't have a very snappy roll rate. And moving the control horn, the control rod to the innermost hole on the control horn makes a pretty substantial difference. So I went ahead and did that. And this airplane also had the Tomcat G25 1140 kV motor in it. I put that motor in as well as an 80 amp ESC to see how it would fly. Yeah. So the Hellcat that I've got, Shadow, it came with flaps, but it still had the 500 kV motor in it. I'm not a fan of that 500 kV motor. It's kind of garbage. So if it had the 600, I probably would have been okay with it. And the other thing to keep in mind is this was going to be my pylon racer plane. And after flying it yesterday, it probably is the plane I should have brought. Now, I'll tell you, this Hellcat, with the stock prop and that 1140 kV Tomcat G25 motor, it was scooting. It was easily doing 100 miles an hour. just awesome. It flies fantastic. The receiver I'm using in it is one of the Spectrum AR636 receivers. And I've got some custom gain setups in there. I want to say I've got the roll gain set to like 35, maybe 40%. The pitch gain is set at, I think, 70 to 75%, and the yaw gain is set to 85%. The yaw gain, you can always, keep that up quite a bit. And the plane flew absolutely incredible. The roll rate, I was a little more conservative on that because at high speeds, things can get crazy, and I didn't want it oscillating. So I probably could bump that up a little bit, see exactly what the limits are, but man, I'll tell you, that thing, it flew amazingly well. It was extremely fast. But the other thing that I learned is that Tomcat G25 motor, I ran 5 battery packs through the Hellcat yesterday, and on the 5th pack, the motor burnt up. Pay it forward, I do still have the plane. I was looking at it today to see, what it would take to kind of do a revival. And I think I can bring it back to life. Obviously not as, a V1200 super duper race plane, but I may be able to bring it back as a more conservative, maybe I'll take one of the 500 kV or 600 kV motors. I've got some motors here that I think will work out. Maybe take one of those motors and put it in there and see how it does on a smaller motor, move the weight forward. But actually, with everything that I've done to the plane, no, I think with the battery all the way forward, that'd give me the extra weight that I need up there. Like a big old 3200 4S or something like that. I definitely think we can get it in the air again, for sure. The damage is not that bad. It basically just knocked the nose off, but the vertical stab, horizontal stabs, the wings didn't take any damage during either one of the accidents that it had at the airfield. So I think I can graft that nose back on no problem, and give it a fighting chance at flying again. But I do need another Dynam P51D canopy. I think the canopy got thrown away. I don't have it anymore. Yeah, Rich M, that motor is only rated, I think, for 800 watts. And I know I was pulling way more than that. It still kind of runs, but you can tell that it's not doing well. I heard it doing bad things, and I landed the plane, brought it down, felt the motor. It was extremely hot. So yeah, the stock prop is like a 13.7. I could probably prop it down a little bit, put maybe a 12.6 on there or something like that. Maybe a 2-blade instead of a 3-blade, where it's a little more efficient. But I don't know. I think the better play is to put a different motor in it, and just not have it as a speed demon plane, but just have it as a great warbird. Because it did fly fantastic. Lyndon Stewart, I think I was just running it too hard. Number one, that plane, the prop I was running was way too big for the motor. The the motor is only rated up to 4S with a much smaller prop. I think it said you can run like up to a 1010 prop on it, and I'm running a 13.7 3-blade prop on that thing. So I think ultimately I just was pushing too much power through the motor, and that's what's got it, on the fritz. So I mean, I could hook a watt meter up to it just for giggles, and we can see, how much current it's pulling, and how much wattage it's pulling through the motor. That'd kind of be fun to see. Since the motor's on its way out anyway, I just don't want to start a fire here on the desk. Jetman, what's going on? Jay Hamilton, what is happening, brother? There is an extra P-51 1.5 millimeter or 1.5 meter canopy in the pond at Imperial RC. BD Tennessee, what's going on, buddy? I maybe did run over the canopy with my crawler. That's probably what happened. Rich M, that is not a bad idea. I think the ESC that I've got in there is probably plenty for it, but throwing a flight line motor in there is probably not a bad idea at all. So I may do just that. Pick a pilot, that C-130. I don't even think Hobby King has parts for that thing. George Watts, what's going on? Good to see you, man. Quinn Perkins, you saw the Draco at the field today. What'd you think? I love that plane, man. I think it's gorgeous. It's got some quirks, but it is an awesome looking airplane. Awesome. Oh, Jetman. I'll let somebody else chime in on that. Listen, I have flown the P-51. I've seen a lot of them fly. Oh yeah, Hamilton's hangar. There's electrical all over at Jet Jam, all over. So between the E-flite P-51 and the FW-190, I'm gonna bite my tongue and say the FW-190 is the better airplane as far as construction goes. The construction methodology, the techniques that were used, it's a better airplane than the P-51. As far as the way they fly, I can't speak to the FW-190. From what I have seen, it looks like it flies fantastic. I can tell you the P-51 is a faster airplane, but faster doesn't mean better, because that Hellcat that I was flying yesterday with that Tomcat motor in there, that G25 on the stock prop, I mean, when the motor was still running, that thing would outrun the FW-190, and it would outrun both of them. That Hellcat was fast as shit, but I burned out the motor, so it is what it is. And it's always fun, at least for me, it's always fun to experiment with different motor and prop combinations. I knew that we were pushing the limits on that G25, especially running the stock prop. I think running a smaller prop, to allow it to get to its peak RPM without pulling a bunch of current, or without, just running too much power through the motor would have handled that just fine. But that's not what we did. So I'm going to try to get either a G32 motor, which I think will run fine, or like Rich M was saying that they have the Dynam Hellcat and they are running the power system from the Flightline Bearcat in it, which sounds like a fantastic idea. Michael Cocroft, what is going on? So, the other plane I brought to the field yesterday was the new Dancing Wing PT-17 that is going to be available very soon over at BitGo. We're talking around mid-July. So yeah, I mean, it's still like 6 weeks out, but we're still, still doing some testing, still testing different prop sizes and things like that to see how far we can push the envelope. And what an awesome experience. This is my first balsa plane, so I really didn't know what to expect. I mean, I was kind of under the... I kind of went in it with the mindset of it's an airplane. I know how to fly airplanes. I know how to fly biplanes. It's going to be like any other biplane. And it was. Michael, I will be out there on Wednesday. So I'll tell you, that PT-17, I put... Dana, my Gen 8 was out there, but I didn't see... Rich Baker had his MB crawler, his Willie's Jeep out there. Beating Tennessee, that's a good question. I haven't tried it. I've got a plane now, so I haven't seen one of the AR-631s in an airplane yet. On my... You know what? We're going to get the answer for you before the end of the show tonight. How's that work? I think that'd be cool to do some live experimentation. Let's see if we can update the firmware on that AR-631 that is in my my Twin Otter, and let's see if we can do a factory reset on it and set it up like a stock AR-631. That'd be awesome. We'll definitely try that out. We will try that out for show. So what was I going to say? Yes, the PT-17 flies fantastic. I mean, that thing was so easy. The power system in it, everything that we did with regard to the power system was all 100% theoretical, math-based stuff. Jay Hamilton, stay safe, man. If the gas stations are anything like they are here in Atlanta, people are still trading sheets of plywood for a gallon of gas. And we all know how much a sheet of plywood goes for these days. So, stay safe, brother. Scott Settle, I'm not sure when they're looking at doing the pre-orders for them. I was very fortunate to get one of the pre-production models. So this thing is not, what I have is not what the end user is going to receive. I had to put quite a bit more work into it. I know that based on some feedback, that the folks at Dancing Wing are going to be taking care of a lot of the things that I had to do on mine for you guys. So it's going to be a much easier, build process. There's still going to be some building and rework and things like that are going to need to happen on behalf of the end user. But at the end of the day, it's a balsa model. I mean, expect to have to do more than you would if it was a foamy. But you won't have to do as much as I did. Yep. What is up, Pilot Ryan? Good to see you. Hopefully your baseball games went well tonight. Have you programmed voice? Oh, no. Nope. Robert Orlep, you are a horrible person for trying to sway me into doing something so terrible. If I did that, I would die instantly. Sorry, the edge of the light was at the right on the side of the screen and it was bugging me. Guys, I'll tell you what, you guys will know when the PT-17 goes on pre-order, because that's when all the videos that we've been making are going to drop. There'll be a much more formal announcement for it. As you guys know, for the most part, we've just been talking about it in the live streams. So there's only a couple of hundred people that know about this plane at all. Once we drop it like it's hot, once we drop it for the world to see as an actual, product video, get yours today at BitGo Hobby. Go to rcairmarshal.com and click the BitGo link and order you one of these bad boys. You guys will know for sure. I think that once there is confirmation, not that it is on the water, because the ports are taking a long time to empty these cargo ships now, but once it's on a train on its way to South Bend, I think that's probably when we can look at maybe some kind of pre-order deal from BitGo. Oh man, Brad, it's an amazing airplane. It's an amazing airplane. And you guys, for those of you that haven't seen it, I may have it on the show next week. For those of you guys that have seen it, you guys already know it's a beautiful airplane. It's a beautiful airplane, and it flies every bit as good as it looks. You guys are going to absolutely love this thing. The power system that we put together for it, doing all the math, doing all the theoretical stuff, getting weight and wing loading and wing area and this and all the different things that we could to put together the super power system, because we wanted gas speeds and gas run times on a single 6S battery. And we knew that was going to be a difficult task to pull off, that usually there's some give and take there. We were able to put together a power system that runs so incredibly efficient, I can't even believe it myself. We're running a Tomcat G60 motor, and man, we could have run it on as little as a 60 amp ESC, but that wouldn't give us a lot of headroom. So we ended up going with an 80 amp ESC in the production model on a 15.8 prop. And I was flying 10-minute flights yesterday. Mixed throttle, I wasn't like hammering it the whole time, but mixed throttle flying, 10 minutes nonstop. and coming down right at like 3/8. So 10-minute flight times is fantastic for any, electric plane. I'm sure that if Kenny gets one, and I think Kenny will get one, even at the price. Yeah. So Ryan, that's something that I haven't tried yet. I was flying it on the 15.8. Bobby hit, so all three of us. So that's the people that have it right now. I've got one. Bobby Committa's got one, which in turn means that that Ryan has one. And Chris Wolf, RC Geek, he also has one. Michael, that new E-flite F-16 is bad to the bone. If it's on pre-order and you're just waiting for them to come in stock, if you like F-16s, there's only one on the market right now that really even compares to it, and it's right here, the Freewing 90. Between the two of them, and it hurts a little to say it. Not really. The Freewing is a little bit of an older model. There are some details on the new E-flite F-16 that make it more scale and more attractive than the Freewing F-16. And the Freewing F-16 is an outstanding looking model, and in the high performance variant of the Freewing F-16, it's an outstanding performing model, but still, it doesn't have the oomph that E-flite's got. That E-flite, man, it can go. It's got some speed to it. It runs very well. It has all the ordnance is already there, and it's very scale ordnance. It pops right off. All the leading edges, like so your leading edge extensions are all like encased in plastic. Which means that they can get a much sharper line there. You can only go so thin with foam. Like the foam has to be at least like a 1/4 inch or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the smallest, edge is that they can put on foam, but I believe it's somewhere around a 1/4 inch. So, by putting the plastic caps on that leading edge extension, and plastic caps along the back, plastic around the canopy so it doesn't mar stuff up. It's a very well done model. You can tell that they took a lot of design cues from the Freewing F-16, but there's a lot of stuff that they did different in a good way. And I'm glad to see it. We need to see E-flite and Freewing. Every time someone makes something better, everybody's game improves. If that makes sense. Airvex, what's going on, man? Dana, no. Yeah, the stuff that they do on the E-flite F-16 that makes it a little bit of a step up from the Freewing. I'll tell you, the gear on the E-flite and the gear on the Freewing are almost identical, and they are bad to the bone. The lights are about the same on both. I think the E-flite might have a little bit better caps on the lights. You know, because the free wing, like I said, man, the free wing F-16 is an older model. It's getting a little bit long in the tooth, but it's still fantastic. The ventral fins on the E-flite, you know, they pop on and off like ordnance. They're made of plastic. So, you know, when you're transporting it, you can pop them off. So the thing will lay flat and not break those things instead of being made out of wood like they are on the free wing. The gear doors are all injection molded plastic. You know, so they're able to make them thinner, where on the free wing, they're fiberglass. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing that they're like laid fiberglass, but the way that there's some inconsistencies there from one to the next, because they can't, when you're working with fiberglass like that, it's not going to be identical every single time. So the injection molded plastic doors have a lot of really cool detail on the interior of the door, like scale detail that you may never see unless you flip the plane upside down. It's just a neat model, and I think that folks are really gonna, y'all are gonna dig it. It is very cool. The videos that you've seen so far don't really do it justice. Once you get your hands on one, you guys are gonna like it a lot. What's up, Ray? How you doing tonight? Yeah, I agree with that. You know, I think for EDFs, if you're going to stay 6S, I really think that 80 millimeter is the sweet spot where you're really getting a good sized airplane with outstanding performance and good flight times. You know, like a lot of the 90s, in my opinion, the 90s probably should have mostly been 8S planes. And as you go up from there, I mean, you look at like a 105. You know, the 105 F-16 from HSD, you know, you go from a 6S 90 to a 12S 105. So, you know, just something to think about. Yeah, I think that the 80 millimeter is your best, and I won't say best, right? Because there's obviously ways to make 90s run really well on 6S. I think the F-18 on 6S, the F-18 90 millimeter on 6S runs fantastic, especially when you're talking the high performance motor. But some of these bigger 90s, they don't do so hot on 6S. The F-22 on 6S with the high performance motor is fantastic. But at least in my opinion, if you're running 6S, 80 millimeters is where it's at. And you can run, you know, your 6S 5000s, 6S 6000s in there, and it's comfortable with it. All right, so let's get back on the PT-17 real quick. That Dancing Wing PT-17, we're talking mid-July. Keep an eye out here. Keep an eye out on the RC Geek. Keep an eye out on the Big Go Hobby channel, Pilot Ryan Media. You know, we're all going to be putting up videos of this thing. And it's just excellent. It's excellent. Michael, are you talking about Dave's RC? Or are you talking about me? I was down in Florida. In fact, if you're watching Pilot Ryan's Grass Ops F-16 videos, I was the one filming those flights. Ray's 22 crew, good to see you, man. 10 jet flights today, warming up for Jet Jam. Awesome. Yeah, guys, man, I'm still kind of, I don't know. I don't know about Jet Jam this year. If I can make it, I'm going to go. But it's still like up in the air. It's so close. It's only like 3 weeks away. So I'm going to try, but I can't make no promises. Craig Beaven, that's great news, man. That is great news. David Martin Graff, it can fly off of some grass. If you have well-manicured grass, if you have a well-manicured field, I'd say that E-flite F-16 is going to be able to handle it all day. You guys saw it. We were flying it off the grass at Imperial, but that is a hand-mowed field. If you've got like rough grass, you might bend it up. Just fair warning. I don't know nothing about foamy B-25s. That'd be awesome, though. EQRC, see you, buddy. Man, we had a good time in Florida, guys. If we do another Pilot Ryan fly-in, try to get there. That was so much fun. So, there was something else I wanted to talk about tonight. So we talked about the Hellcat. We talked about the PT-17. Incredible. Incredible. I can't say enough good things about the way that PT-17 flies, dude. That thing is fantastic. Um, 850. So we still got we still got a little over an hour left, and I want to check something out for one of the folks. Amy's Apprentice. Yep. We talked about Amy's Apprentice. We are gonna do. So, BD Tennessee, did you try it? That's what we're going to do in the show. I just wanted to see if you tried it. Yep, we talked about Amy flying the Apprentice. It was awesome. I flew the Hellcat, flew the PT-17. I want to talk about something that George Watts just asked about. I wasn't going to talk about what George Watts just asked about because I kind of touched on it earlier, but since George wasn't here, I'm going to let it slide. I'm just kidding. So George Watts, yes. The NX-10 shipped out today, I believe. And that is going to be down in Fort Lauderdale, hopefully by the end of the week. The S2200 Charger, the back order date shifted from May to July. So we may be waiting a while to get an S2200 Charger. I'm going to check some local hobby shops and see if I can find one. If I can find one in a local hobby shop, I will buy it. Send it down to Rich M and cancel the pre-order for the charger. The Draco obviously hasn't shipped yet, but that one still says May. We'll keep our fingers crossed. All right, so I want to address what BD Tennessee had asked about, right? So BD Tennessee had asked, can you factory reset an AR-631 the same way that you can an AR-637T? So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to go back to like the little Air Marshals logo screen. You guys don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Give me a few minutes and I'm going to get all the things that I need. And then once we're done doing that, the big surprise of the evening, not really a surprise, but we're going to do a close-up view of the awesome VFC-12 F-18. We're going to get that down here on the table and take a look at it post Papa-Dot. So this got Papa-Dotted, so all the little rivet detail is in there now, and it looks amazing. You guys just can't see it from here. So give me a few minutes. I'm going to run and grab a couple of battery packs, and we're going to grab the Twin Otter and see if we can factory reset that AR-631. So I will be right back. Oops. All right. So as you can see, the AR-631, or I'm sorry, the E-flite Twin Otter is now on floats where it will remain for the rest of its life. I bought this to be a float plane, and once I did the maiden flight on it off the wheels, and I did that down in Florida at the Pilot Ryan Fly-In. Once I got the maiden flight done, the intent was always to get the maiden flight done on wheels, then transfer it over to floats where it will live forever. I did forget to put the logo up, and who cares? All right, so let me grab the NX-10 off the wall. We're gonna switch this over.
Warning, throttle high.
Oh my God, throttle high. Let's go, Twin Otter. Twin Otter is selected. I am going to throw a battery up in here, little 3S 2200 action. And let's see what happens. Oh man, this is a 3S 2200 G2 pack. Look at that. Okay. So we're gonna plug this guy in. Always get clear of the props. All right, so the model's plugged in. We got some dancing happening. Yeah, it looks like that right aileron that was giving me troubles before looks like it's giving me trouble again. That sucks. Anyway. Alright. So I want to see if I can get into forward programming here on the AR631. So I do have gyro settings, but the only thing that it lets me do is go into safe select. So I can turn like safe select on and off for my different flight modes. But that's it. That's all it lets me look at. And this is with the AR631 on firmware version 2.38.00. So someone jot that down, 2.38.00. And what we're going to do is we're going to plug, I'm going to go ahead and pull the wing off this thing. And we're going to plug a Spectrum programming cable into this AR631 and see if there's any new firmware available that will let us treat it the same way that we would an AR637. Because I ain't scared. Every time I want to pull the wings off of this thing, I always forget that the wing struts on the bottom are still on there, and I'm like pulling on it and trying to get it off. So this is like the first time I've remembered before I started yanking and looking like a moron. So we're going to pull the wing off here. Let's see. Interesting. All right. Now, what I think is interesting on these models, so typically what we've seen with E-flite models in the past is there was a different model number for the receivers that they would put in those planes. That's cool how you can see the lights and stuff. See you, Nathaniel. Have a good day, bud. Have a good night. Hope your cat's all right, man. That sucks. I have my handy dandy. Of course, I've got a Spectrum programmer cable right here. I promise you this wasn't staged. I'm just this geeky. I have one all the time. So what I was going to say, though, is the AR631 that is in the Twin Otter, it's not like, so back in the day when they would do these, you'd get like an AR636A, an AR636B, an AR637TA. In this one, you get an AR631. Like, I don't know if it's the same 631 that comes box stock in a lot of these models. I couldn't tell you the answer to that. But that'd be cool if that's what they're doing. And it kind of gives me high hopes. If that is the case, I think that we'll be able to do...
Playing from down to 02.
Dang it, man. I think we'll be able to do what BD Tennessee was asking about. So I got to do some stuff on the other side of the screen real quick. All right. Alright, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. I'm on the other side of the computer. So what we're going to do is we're going to see, so right now I've got the Spectrum programmer stuff pulled up here. And you can see all of my stuff that I had set up for the Hellcat. How about that? We're going to go over here to models, make sure we're signed in. So I am going to go and reset the model. So I'm going to pull the battery cable and plug it back in, and hopefully right where the mouse is, well actually you can't see that because my big dumb head is in the way. Well, let me see if I can move that. Yep, there, my big dumb head. I'm going to move my big dumb head out of the way. How's that? So up here in the top right hand corner you can see cable connected but no device. See you, Gooniac. Have a good night, bud. So I'm going to go and unplug the model and plug it back in. So let me flip back over to that so you can see what's going on over there. All right. So we're just unplugging the battery here. And then plugging the battery back in, and hopefully that Spectrum Programmer software will be able to see a change. I'm not sure why it's just beeping like that, but we'll just ignore those beeps because we can see what's going on. It says cable and device connected now here in the upper right hand corner of the Spectrum Programmer. And we can see that the software version is 2.38 in that AR 631. So what I want to do here is look and see if there is an update available. So we're going to click check for update. We're going to register this device, so we're going to call this Twin Otter AR 631. Boom. So we've got it updated. So it says no new software version is available at this time. Do you want to install another version? So they've got this 2.38.5 and 2.37.8. So because I can't really change it anyway, and I'm not really afraid of destroying it, I'm going to go ahead and reload the 2.38.5 firmware on this thing. Even though I can't see what the current gain settings are, I might be able to. Let me write down what the current gain settings are, because that's really the only thing I give a crap about. Sorry. I'm unplugging this thing and plugging it back in one more time. Because something is a little bit wonky here. I don't know if because it's plugged into the programming cable, if the radio's not going to sync up with it. And I think that's exactly what's going on. Let me look at my time. All right, so it's 9 o'clock. There we go. Now we should be able to see what our gains are. Interesting. Of course, I never have anything to write with when I need it. So I'm just going through here and copying all the stuff, and sorry I was on the other side of the screen where you couldn't see me for a bit. I do apologize for that. Let's make a new note. We're going to close out of that. Because right now I can't save those settings, right? So I'm just going to make a note here. New text document, twin otter settings. And we're going to bring that over. Okay, AS3X. Dang it, man. Gains, roll, pitch, yaw, gains, all right, and then I'm gonna Alright, so in AS3X mode, the roll is 30, pitch is 50, yaw is 66. In safe mode, the AS3X gains change to 32, 54, and 70. All right. And that's really the only thing I care about, right? We can also do the safe gains. So in I'm just changing some titles. And sorry, I'll check the chat here in a little bit. Save games. Because if I can get this thing to reset, that's great. 30, pitch. that's all the settings that we need to transpose over to the AR631 in the event that I wipe it out, right? So the key is here that I don't want to, reset everything, because right now in its current state, I can't save it. So this is good information. With the AR637T, I can save those factory settings before I erase it. With the AR631, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that before I reflash the firmware. So now that I've got all of that stuff copied, and we can get to that through the forward programming menu, or not through the forward programming, but we can actually see that in the telemetry screens on the NX10 or any of your other, compatible radios, so your DX8, DX9, DX6E, DX8E, IX12, IX20, all of the NX series. You're going to be able to go into your telemetry screens, and you're going to be able to see your AS3X settings and your safe limits, and you can actually flip through your flight modes and see all these different settings that we were just transposing. Robert O, not yet, but the Spectrum programmer has always been able to update any receiver regardless of whether it was supported as a way to program it. So for now, like the AR637, AR8360, AR630, and AR631 are only programmable through forward programming. The Spectrum programmer is not compatible with them yet. So we're going to go ahead and plug our programming cable back in and see what happens. And now I want to see, is it going to make us, yep, we're going to have to reset the model. And get it back in beeper mode. Alright, so now that we got the model back in beeper mode, we can see that we got cable and device connected. Software version 2.38. Now on the forward programming menu, it said 2.38.00. In the install another version, it gives us 2.38.5. So I'm going to go ahead and reflash with 2.38.5 and see what happens, right? Because, I mean, who are you if you're not willing to experiment a little bit? So here we go, BD Tennessee. I'm about to destroy my model for you. So there we go. We are updating the AR631 in the Twin Otter. Now this is a factory installed AR631 that came pre-programmed from Spectrum. And we're looking to see if I can unlock this device. Okay. So it still says software version 2.38. The cable and device are connected. So now I'm going to go and switch back over to the other view because we have accomplished what we needed to. So we're going to transition back over here. Ooh. We're going to stop the beeping. For crying out loud. Stop the beeping. All right, we're going to unplug our programming cable. And what has most likely happened is I have just reset everything on the model, which is fine because I copied down what those factory gain settings were, so we'll just plug those values in. Yeah, so even though it was the same version, you can always load firmware on top of that. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't look like it reset anything by copying that firmware over the old version. So yeah, it looks like the AR630s at least. Let me go into forward programming. I don't think anything changed here, but let's see. I now have other settings. So by copying the 2.38.5 firmware onto the receiver, I now have gyro settings and other settings. I can go into other settings, save to backup, apply, complete, other settings, factory reset. So it did work. BD Tennessee, if you update it with the latest version, even though it says 2.38 is the latest version, write the 2.38.5 and you will get the ability to get into other settings and forward programming and perform a factory reset on the AR631. Let me go back here because I want to see if there's anything else under gyro settings. Under gyro settings, all it let us do was adjust like the safe select settings. So yeah, now we also have the ability to adjust our AS3X gains and the priorities, which is really super stinking cool. Yeah, so do that. Yes. So BD Tennessee, I can now adjust the gains without doing anything. Without doing a factory reset, I can adjust the gains on the model. And I can set up my stick priority. Someone had a question about stick priority before. I'm going to answer that here in just a little bit. And in addition, I can go into safe select and basically change what my flight modes do. So in flight mode, 1, I can have safe select turned on. On flight mode 2, I've got AS3X and safe on and off, whatever. And I can also, modify the flight modes where I can turn the AS3X off completely in one of the flight modes. So yeah, it opens up quite a few options. If you flash the latest firmware version onto the AR631 that's in your new E-flite models, you will get more features unlocked, even though it says it's the same version. It's only looking at the major revision number, not the minor revision numbers, right? So it's looking at the 2.38 and saying that it's the same revision that's on there, but what's on there from the factory is 2.38.0. What's available through the Spectrum programmer is 2.38.5. If you update it with the 2.38.5 firmware, you can save those settings. You can factory reset, you can adjust your gains. It unlocks a lot of features for you when you do that. So I'm glad we took the time to figure that out, because that's awesome. It's good to know, and now I will have that available to tell people in the future when they ask that same question. So BD Tennessee, thank you for asking that. We all were able to learn a little something today. How about that? So BD Tennessee, you can indeed reset these things, but you do need to load the latest firmware. All good in, man. Glad to help. And Micah, that's exactly why I do it. I don't like the idea of the receiver being able to get dislodged and flop around inside there and crashing my model because I didn't have a way to just turn the gyro off. I want to be able to turn it just off. I don't like, for one mode to be AS3X and one mode to be Safe Select. I really like the ability to turn it off completely. So just in case it's going absolutely haywire, boop, just turn the gyro off and bring her on home. No. So Rashka, this is a newer Twin Otter. This has an AR-631 in it, not the AR-636. So no, right. So if that were the case, I'd be buying up every AR-636 there is on the planet. And BD Tennessee, that's good to know. I really didn't look at what was there. I just know that I can do a lot more with it now that I've updated the firmware. It looks just like an updated AR-637TA after you update the firmware and all the different options that you have available. It looks just like that now on the 631, which is awesome. So earlier, and hopefully you're still here. If you remember asking this question, let me know, like, hey, that was me. I asked that question. Someone had asked about stick priority, and I want to address what priority means. So someone had asked if they set their stick priority to 200, anytime they move their sticks, it completely turns off stabilization. And does that mean that my stabilization is effectively off? No, it just means the only time that you have stabilization at all is when your sticks are in the centered position. So if you're not moving your sticks at all, your sticks, you will still have your full gains, but your gains go away instantly as soon as you move that stick away from center by even one little point, so say you're at like dead center 0, 0, and you move to like 0, 1, yeah, you're done. All your gains go away instantly as soon as you move the stick. So on the priority settings, I like to keep mine around 160 to 170. I think 160 is the default. I keep mine at 170 because it gives me a little less stick throw before the gains turn off. And to me, the stick priority is what makes AS3X kind of a cut above other gyros out there. So as I move the stick further away from the center position, and this is what the stick priority means, when all your stuff is centered up and the airplane is just flying along, straight and level, the gyro is going to try to stabilize the plane. What it means when it says priority is, and what used to be called stick priority, when I move the stick, it gives that control back to me, the pilot. And once the further away from center I get, the more control of the plane I've got. So in that first 30 degrees, or in that first 30% of throw on the stick, actually it's only about 15% of the throw. In that first 15% of the throw, the gains still have some effect over keeping the model stabilized. But if I go beyond that 30% throw, I now have full control of the airplane, and the gains are shut down for that axis that I'm controlling, right? So if I am rolling to the right, if I roll more than 15 degrees, the stick priority will, gradually lower the gains until I reach that 15% of stick throw, and then the gains are all the way down to 0. So now I am in full control of the plane, which gives AS3X a much more natural feel. A lot of these gyros, the gains are turned on all the time, no matter how, much stick input you're putting in. And with that being the case, the gyro can tend to fight you a little bit. And AS3X, at least in my opinion, is the least intrusive of all of the gyros I've tried. Hopefully that all made sense. That was a lot of blabbing just to say AS3X is good. So Twin City, hopefully that answered your question. So if you have a very low setting, the gains are going to be active all the time. So say you have your priority set to 0 instead of 100 or whatever. It means that your gains are on all the time, and it's going to act like any other gyro. So it means that when you're in a turn, wind and all that stuff will still kick the plane around, and the plane is going to try to correct for wind through a turn. And it may fight you. It may treat it like any other gyro. The plane may fight your stick inputs at that point. Which is why I like stick priority to be higher, in that 160, 170, because when I'm centered up and I'm just flying straight and level, that's when I want my gyro working. When I'm going through a bank or going through a turn, I don't want the thing fighting with me. So I want to turn, and I want the gains to be off. Now somewhere throughout that turn, as you enter into your bank angle, you're not going to be holding your stick over the whole time. You're going to go back to center. So some portions through the turn, your stabilization is still going to be turned on, just not to the same degree as it would be if your gains were set to 0. So if your gains are set to 0, you've got all of your gains all the time. If your gains are set to 100, they are at 100% at mid-stick, and they drop off.
System idle.
But they only drop to 0 when...
System idle.
Shut your mouth, lady. They only drop to 0 when you are at 100% stick throw in one direction or the other. Right? So I have to bring the stick all the way over. I have to jam it all the way to the right or to the left to get the gains to go to 0. That 150, 160, 170 area, that's the sweet spot for me. That's where I found I really like it. By default, like I said, it comes in at around 160, I believe. And, I'll tell you, the default settings for AS3X, are going to get you a really good ballpark figure of where you want to be for most models. So just kind of take that, for what it's worth. These are all my opinions. No, Michael Bear, a lot of this stuff is just me geeking out on it way too much and really digging in deep and understanding the technology. None of the stuff that I said is going to affect most of you. If you're buying bind and fly airplanes, just bind your radio, plug in your battery, and go, man. You don't need to worry about all that stuff. But when people ask questions, I'm not gonna sugarcoat the answer, if that makes sense. I'm gonna tell them the answer. So sometimes the answer may be more complex than it needs to be, and I guess I should apologize in advance for that. Like, hey guys, this answer is gonna be pretty geeky, so be ready. Yeah, I don't use dual rates either, Michael Bear. I use triple rates, baby. BD Tennessee, are you asking if I can switch it back and forth between fixed gains and adjustable gains? Let me look. Under gyro settings, I cannot change them between fixed and adjustable. I can change them manually, but I can't set it up on a knob. Yep, it won't let me do that. So if that's something that you were looking for without resetting the model or without resetting the receiver, that is not going to work. That's correct. So with the firmware updated, you can update the... Oh, you know what? I hadn't hooked the battery up since I plugged in my, since I put the floats on, but, I was like, I wonder if the water rudder works. And here's my little water rudder. Heck yeah, it works. Fool! We're going water flying like next weekend. Awesome. The BD Tennessee, that is correct. The gains are fixed. You can change them in forward programming, but they are fixed. Yeah, George, I find that's what I do most of the time as well. I want to have all of the throw available to me all the time. So if it's a little too touchy on the first couple of flights, I'll switch it. Like if I need to on my maiden, if it's too twitchy on the maiden, I'll put it in like low rates, mid rates, whatever until it feels okay. Go ahead and land the plane, go back and adjust my expo on my high rate setting, take off again, and see how it feels, because I want that full throw available to me if I need it, but I don't want it to be so twitchy, you know. So that's also how I do my my settings as well, is full mechanical throw, 100% rates at higher expo levels. But what I find is, generally speaking, 20% expo gets me in the ballpark of where I need to be most of the time. All right. So let's talk about next weekend. You know, as you can see here, I've got the Twin Otter sitting on floats, and my Husky. Now that I've got the Draco and very happy with its performance, I have put the Husky SE on floats permanently. So it's now sitting on its floats as well. So next weekend, we're going to take the old Twin Otter and the Husky out to the lake for our monthly float fly for the club that I belong to here at CCRC. So that will be fantastic. I do enjoy float flying quite a bit. We're definitely going to get, you know, if Amy wakes up on time, we're definitely going to have somebody on the camera. So if you guys enjoy watching float flying, I'm going to try to get quite a bit of footage from all the different folks that are flying their planes off floats that day. Usually we have some really cool models out there. There's some guys at our club that have some nice balsa float planes that they bring out to these float flies. And those are always fun to watch. But I'm going to bring the Twin Otter, I'm going to bring the Husky, and we're going to have fun. Yeah, Ray, I don't know that you're down, you know, with everything that the Twin Otter is packing. I mean, this thing is packing some heat, baby. It's a twin. This isn't like just one otter. It's a Twin Otter. You got to be able to handle both otters. And I'm also excited this weekend. So our club does two what we call trainer nights every month. So the first Wednesday and the last Wednesday of every month, we have public trainer nights that are open to anybody that wants to come out and try RC flying. Nice. So that's right, George Watts, a sea otter. And those will bite your mouth off. It will change your RC life. That's funny. We got to keep that saying alive. That's my new, and you're going to learn something today. You don't need to learn nothing. Today we're going to be talking about the E-flite Twin Otter and how this airplane is going to change your RC life. That's awesome. I'm doing it, man. That's the new catchphrase. We're going to change your RC life. I love it. I remember talking about the tools, you know, about a month ago. Maybe it was more than a month ago. It's maybe been a while, but, you know, I was like, man, if you guys get this hobby knife, it's going to change your RC life. and that is funny. Scott Settle, I believe there will be some T-shirts that say, "We're going to change your RC life." Something about your RC life and the way that it's going to change if you bring me into it. Oh yeah. So no BS, Michael Bear writes a... No, we're not going to do it getting smarter every day, because that's the gay. But we're going to change your RC life. And it's going to be funny. And not for the better. We're going to ruin your RC life. But hey, ruining is still changing. I love the props. They're so cool looking. So Don Shack, I am not a BitGo representative, so I am only repeating what I have heard from the source, that they are trying to keep the price point between $500 and $600. And for an ARF plug and play balsa 1600 millimeter biplane, I think that's a very reasonable price. You know, it's balsa, it comes with all your servos, it comes with this awesome power system that we put together. It's a nice model. It is a nice model. That's the plan. That's the plan, Reckamroy. Yeah, so Don, I think... So Don Shack, it's an ARF, meaning that it's not ready to fly. You're going to have to put it together. There is some building that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to install some hinges. You're going to have to install some mounts for the wing struts and the cavanes. You're going to have to install the flying wire if you want it. You're going to need to do some building. But the plug and play, so it's an ARF plug and play. The plug and play comes from, it's got everything that you need included with the kit except the receiver. So all of your servos are pre-installed, which is awesome. Your motor's going to be pre-installed. Your ESC is going to be pre-installed. The only thing that you may need to do is, and listen, what I have is a pre-production model. My understanding is that they're going to be taking care of a lot of these things. So when I tell you that you're going to need to hook up the, the elevator control rod, it may be hooked up already right out of the box. I had to install mine. And you might too. I had to install all the control horns. The control horns may be installed in the control surfaces already, in the production model. You know, because that's the feedback that we were giving back to Dancing Wing. Like, hey, why don't we take some of the burden out of the user's hands and, have all this stuff all set up already. Where these, connections are already glued in and ready to rock. So we'll see what suggestions they took to heart and which ones they told us to stuff it. And, but the nice part is these folks at Dancing Wing, they are listening and they are making changes immediately. It's not like it's a foam model where they have to go and modify the mold. They can make modifications to the balsa design and laser cut new pieces and change the internal configuration and internal structures. They can do things like that in balsa instantly and just cut a new model, piece it all together and see how it works. These are not luxuries that exist in the foam world, you know, where if there's like a big problem with a foamy, you know, you gotta like completely redo the mold. I mean, balsa, you got a lot of freedoms in the design department to be able to do really neat stuff. And the relationship between BitGo and Dancing Wing, I think, is going to turn into something that's really special if these things take off the way that we think they're going to. All right. Hey, speaking of full kit builds, I remember I showed this to you guys last week, but man, I'm chomping at the bit. You know, I'm looking forward to the end of the flying season because I want to start putting this together, and we're going to chronicle it. You know, in like the weekly shows. That may be what we do for the weekly shows over the winter, is putting together this Mustang. We're definitely building this beast, and it's going to be awesome. George Watts, not really, but you know there does come a time during the year where it starts to get uncomfortably cold outside, and I don't want my hands to be numb while I'm flying. You know, it gets like into the 30s, but I mean, it never gets like so cold that I can't fly. It just gets cold enough where I'm not comfortable flying anymore. So I'm really looking forward to putting this guy together, though. Like Gooniite said, from a pile of sticks. I think that this is what... you know, it's almost like a rite of passage. Do I need to? Do I enjoy flying the foamies? Do I enjoy flying, you know, the Balsa ARF kits? Of course I do, man. They're awesome. You know, this little Twin Otter, I flew this down in Florida. It's fantastic. This is a great little plane. The Grand Cruiser, I mean, all the planes that I have, I love in one way or another, and they are all incredible flying airplanes. The Balsa PT-17 that I flew was like dreamy. That thing is fantastic. But someone else put all those planes together. You know, when I take this to the field and I fly it for the first time, I can say, like, that was me. And, I mean, someone else designed the blueprints, of course, but, like, I built that airplane. I built it. Like, no kidding. And that's why I think that there's something to be said also for, like, the flight test kits. You know, taking flat sheets of foam board and turning it into an RC airplane, I think is just that is fascinating to me. That the folks there are able to design these models to be built from foam board and put them together. So I'm really looking forward to getting this guy put together, my first real stick build. And like I say, to me, it feels like a rite of passage. You know, like, once I do that, I can say that I've accomplished, you know, more than a lot of folks do in this hobby. I'm probably still going to go electric with it. I don't really want to go nitro. And I think for that size model, I mean, we're talking that's a 21 size glow engine. I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm going to do a 25 size glow engine. I'll probably do a 3S setup with a G25 Tomcat motor in it. like, I don't think can you even get gas in a motor that small? Now, GB Linden, surprisingly, I don't do a lot of crashing. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If I can't go gas with it, I'm going to go electric because I have no desire to build a nitro plane. So I'm probably going to do electric and do like a G25 setup in there. That G25 motor is awesome. Just not the way I was flying it. I'll do a 3S setup. It's only an 1100. I think it's an 1100 size airframe. So 1100 size balsa. It should be fairly light. So I think a 3S setup with an 1140 kV motor, that thing is going to haul the mail, man. It is going to fly. Yeah, and it would have to be. I mean, I don't like two-stroke. I prefer four-stroke. So if you can't get like a 21 size gas four-stroke, not nitro, then I'm going electric. C Mafia, what is up, man? Mickey B, what is up? Roach Coach Hellies, how you doing? So I missed a lot while I was doing the messing around with the receiver in this here Twin Otter. Yeah, George Watts, that makes sense. Yeah, if you go back and rewatch this, and go back to the boring part of me messing around with receiver programming, it'll put you to sleep. Dude, so Mickey B has been throwing this little, what is it, a K-45? It's this turbine that's like tiny. It's seriously like probably smaller than this little Coke bottle. Maybe about the same size. It's tiny. And it's like a 4.5 kilograms of thrust. That's crazy. And it's like $1,500. Yeah, X45. Yes, Ryan. So that's what I should do. I should just have like some sound going in the background. Oh, the beeps. Beep. Beep. And just let that play for the rest of the night and people can go to sleep. That'd be awesome. So listen, we are getting about to that time. It is 9:57 and Gooniac is going to be going live at 9:15. C Mafia, that's crazy. No throttle signal right out of the package. C Mafia, you know what? When we were down in Florida, I think someone was down there and they had an AR 630. It got throttled, but it would not take the inputs. Like if we changed the servo directions, because the ailerons were reversed, they were correcting in the wrong direction, but they were moving the right way. So I told it to relearn the servo settings, and it just would not work. We tried several different methods to get it to function properly, and I could not get it to work. So I mean, I've seen a couple, but yeah, it's definitely rare. You know, you don't see a lot of busted up. You don't see a lot of busted up Spectrum receivers, man. They're usually pretty good. Michael Bear, it is always my pleasure. Guniac, I am here for you. Whatever you need, my friend. Anyway, guys, I'm going to head out here in a little bit. But before I go, I have to give you guys the obligatory... If you've got things that you need to buy for RC, always consider using my links. You can find all of my affiliate links at rcairmarshal.com. That includes our affiliate links to Horizon Hobby. You just click on the Horizon link, shop for whatever you want, and we get a little bit of a kickback on those sales, and we absolutely appreciate your support. You can shop at Horizon. You can shop at BitGo. Remember when this PT-17 comes out, rcairmarshal.com, baby. You know what? And there's one last thing. I know that Guniac, and I don't want to say this till next week. Guniac is going live in 15 minutes. I've got a couple of minutes left, so I want to get this in. But check out my links at rcairmarshal.com and help a brother out. Help out the channel. Also, consider becoming a channel member for as low as $1 a month. It helps out the channel tremendously when you become a member of the channel. Buy some merch. Support the RC Air Marshal on your chest. And have the wings on your chesticles all the time. It'll be awesome. And it will change your RC life. And the ladies will like you a lot better too. So, on to the last topic of the evening. Yeah, George Watts, that's right. If you become a member of the RC Air Marshal YouTube channel, you will get UMX Doberman emojis. Booyah. Look at what George Watts has there. You want UMX Dobermans? $1 a month, bitch. Pay up, fools. All right. So the last thing I want to mention, and this is something that's kind of interesting to me. Speaking of changing your RC life, I am seeing a lot of activity on the Dynam Facebook group lately, where Dynam's been going live like every day. Don Shack, I'm going to need it, man. I need more thin CA. I need more thin CA. There's been a lot of activity on the Dynam webpage, and I think I'm catching on to what they're doing. So it keeps saying SPNP testing, SPNP testing, SPNP testing, and they've got like every model of airplane and all the gyro settings and blah, 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 blah. And and then I started thinking to myself, like, they don't have, there's no such thing as SPNP. There's SRTF. There's Bind and Play, which is their version of like Bind and Fly. But they don't have a smart plug and play. What is that? And what I think may be coming down the pipe, and this is exciting, and I'll tell you why. And then I'm going to let you guys go because Guniac's going live and I don't want to eat into his show. The reason I think this is exciting is because what I have seen them doing is they are tuning the iStone, Airplane All, or the iStone All gyros for the smart plug and play deals. The reason that's awesome is because those are really good gyros. Like, FMS reflex quality stuff. They are really good. You can run S-bus inputs, you can run PWM inputs, you can run Spectrum satellites to it. There are a lot of options to get these things running where all of your outputs are already connected straight to the gyro. All you need to do is get your signal inputs coming into it. So whether that be through a couple of satellite, some SRXL, like DSM and DSMX style satellite receivers, or an S-bus receiver, so you can run Futaba, you can run FR Sky, you can run Spectrum, straight into this with one wire and be done. If they start selling these things with the gyros in them, that's going to be really nice. Not that they need them, but it's really nice that they're coming, that they're tuning them right now. They're tuning all the settings. If they start shipping them with the gyros, that's going to be the same way that like Arrows is shipping a lot of their planes with gyros now. FMS has settings available for the reflex gyros. All of the E-flite stuff is using the gyros now. They just make it fly just a little better. And I know some people don't like them, some people love them, whatever your taste is. If you don't like it, rip it out. I don't care. Send it to me. But I think it's a good move on their part. So be looking for that. I think that's something we're going to see coming from Dynam here in the next few months, is a smart plug-and-play option that's going to come with the iStone All Acro version of their gyro in it, which is a really nice gyro. I have flown with them and they are fantastic. So that's my take on that. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have fun. We will show the Papa Dots on the F-18 next weekend, George. I am sorry, we just ran out of time. Be sure to tune into Guniac here in 9 minutes for his show. I'm sure it's going to be worth watching. And, man, be sure to tune in next week where we're going to change your RC life. That's awesome. Booyah. We're going to change your RC life next week. Anyway, guys, it's always a pleasure. I will see you guys all on Monday. I'm sure I will see you in the chats throughout the week. As always, if you have any questions, hit me up at rcairmarshal.com. Hit the contact button. You can send an email straight to me using that link. And like I said before, if you're looking for anything new RC related, like one of these here twin otters, or like that Dynam Hellcat, which is in stock right now, extremely hard to get your hands on the Dynam Hellcat. It's awesome. You should try one out. I know Dynam planes can be crappy. The Hellcat is awesome. I wouldn't just say that. It's awesome. I'll tell you which ones are crappy. Hellcat's not a crappy one. Get it. And go to rcairmarshal.com, click on that BitGo link, and get it that way. It pays me a little bit of extra cheddar, and you guys get a great airplane, and it doesn't cost you a dime to click through my links. So consider using those. As always, you guys have a great week. Good night, guys.